In today's video, we're going to talk about Cypress automation testing and in specific, interacting with web elements. Cypress offers several built-in commands for interacting with various web elements, such as buttons, input fields, dropdowns, checkboxes, radio buttons, and more. These interactions help simulate real user behavior and validate that the UI and functionality behave as expected. So first, let's talk about interacting with buttons. Cypress allows you to click buttons, check for their visibility, and validate their states. So to click a button, you can use these commands, .click. To check a button's state, you can use should to see if the state is not be disabled, or so on. For handling input fields, Cypress provides commands to type text into input fields, clear them, and validate their values. Typing into an input field, you'll use the type command, whereas clearing an input field, you'll use clear, and validating the input field, you should use should. Interacting with checkboxes is also another option. Cypress allows you to check or uncheck checkboxes, and you just use the commands check, uncheck, and should to validate the checkbox state. For handling radio buttons, you can select an option and validate the selection. So you can check this option right here using this input option right here, and then you can validate that state using should. For selecting options from drop-down menus, it's made easy by using select. And so for selecting an option by value, use select, and then you can input option 2, but you can also validate the selected option. So for modals and pop-ups can also be handled using Cypress commands such as cy.contains or event listeners. Clicking a button inside a modal, you can use the click button. And then for handling browser alerts, you can use this on command. Cypress can interact with links by clicking on them or validating URLs. So you can use click to click on the link, and validate the URL, you'll use should. For advanced interactions like hovering or right-clicking, Cypress provides cy.trigger. For hovering over an element, you can use trigger, mouse over. And for right-clicking an element, you can use .right-click. Since Cypress doesn't natively support iframes, you can use custom commands to interact with elements inside iframes. Accessing an iframe, cy.iframe, you can use this command right here. You can also upload files using cy.attachFile command as well in this example shown here. So best practices for interacting with web elements in Cypress. You should use descriptive selectors using meaningful selectors like data attributes to improve test reliability. You should combine assertions with commands to ensure that the element is ready for interaction. And you should also avoid hard waits. Use built-in retries and should instead of arbitrary waits to reduce flakiness. You should also handle dynamic content gracefully. Ensure elements are loaded and visible before interacting with them. And you should use custom commands for repetitive actions. Encapsulate repetitive logic in custom commands for reusability. In this next part of the video, I'm going to show you how you can write your own code to do these testing and interactions with the web elements. So right here I have a folder open. I'm going to create a new file to do this. So under my scripts, I'm going to create this, click new file, and I'm going to name it interact with .cy.js. And within here, I'm first going to say require the package Cypress XPath. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do describe Cypress test. And then within here, I'm going to start with our first test. Click on button 1. And then with here, I'm going to do this so that it continues the test even if we catch an error. Top exception. Then I'm going to do this. then I will visit our base URL, and then I will check if anything contains tests, and then I will click that, and then I'll see if anything contains web elements. And then what I'll do is I'll click this as well, but I will use the force true tag. And then after that, I will use the get, and then what we're going to get is we're going to get the ID button1, and then we're going to use should assert that this is not disabled. And if it's not disabled, then what we can do is we can click it. So this is what we're gonna how we're gonna interact with this button. I'll go ahead and save this, and then here I can type npx Cypress open to run the test. And we'll use this one to see our test. Cannot detect test, and let's see what's wrong. It's the syntax error right here. So go back and fix this. Go save this, open this up again, and now it'll do all the stuff. So up until here, we're going to this web page using all those different button clicks. And then right here is when we get the button element. And then this is when we're checking if the button element is not disabled. And then we're clicking it. So there we go. So next I'm going to show you a few more things we can do. And let me show you how it works. So I'm going to add a few more tests. But I'm just going to copy and paste it so we can go through this a little bit quicker. So the first test, we're going to navigate to web element text 1. So we're going to go to this URL by going through these steps here. But then we're going to go to here, the text field 1. We're going to clear it, and we're going to type welcome to Cypress tests. And then what we're going to do is we're going to validate that the value within this text 1 is welcome to Cypress tests. I'm going to add a few more so that this is a little bit quicker. But let me proceed. So in this next one, what we're going to do is we're going to navigate to the web element checkbox 1, and instead we're going to check it, check if it's unchecked, so validate that it's checked, and then uncheck it, and then validate that it's not checked anymore. And so let me save this and show you how these two work. Right here, this will reload. If it doesn't reload, then you just click reload here, and it'll reload. So this is basically going to the text element 1, so we'll show you right here, it's getting text element 1 right here, and then it's clearing it, and then typing welcome to Cypress text, and then getting the text within here, and then validating it. For checkbox, right here, it'll find the checkbox right here, so checkbox right there, it'll check it, and then validate it, that it's checked, and then get it again, uncheck it, and then validate that it's unchecked now. So that's what we have so far. Now let's look at the next few things that we can do with these. So now we're going to show you how you can work with radio buttons. So for radio buttons, let me show you this. So radio button 3, we're basically finding the radio button, checking that it's not checked, checking it, and then asserting that it becomes checked. And then for some other things we can do is, for example, checking a file. Like, for example, right here, we're clicking on choose file 3. So we go into here, test, we're clicking on it, we're going to web elements .click, and then we're checking, and then what we'll do is we'll go to here, we'll find this class file3, select the file, and basically you can import it, update the file. And then I will add one more to show you guys. We're gonna do select service. It's gonna call it select your service. And in this one, again, we're going to the golf course page now, and we're basically selecting from a dropdown, Mexico, and then we're validating that we're actually selecting Mexico within that dropdown. So let me show you how this goes. So now radio button 3, right here. We're basically finding the radio button 3 using the command that we have. We're seeing that it's not clicked, we're checking it, and then we're validating that it is checked. For choose file, again, we're going to find this area right here, and then we're going to update a file, upload a file to that choose file. For select your service, we're basically going to this web page, and then we're basically going to here, clicking select, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to select Mexico, and then we're going to validate that this has Mexico selected, which it does. So now let's add a few more things that we can look at. So I added 3 more right here. I added validate to pop-up text for button 1. So basically you click button 1 after you validate that it's not disabled. And then for the Windows alert, you'll see if you can see if you can assert this using this equal, the button has been disabled for button 1. For handling links, basically you'll visit this link, and then you'll use the URL should include idiom lucid. So we're checking the URL now. For mouse over your service, this is basically hovering over it. So once we get to this golf course here, basically what we'll do is we'll right click this thing right here, and then we'll use .getSelect.trigger mouse over as well to see what happens when you hover over your mouse as well. So let's go to validate pop-up right here first. Basically, we see that we go to this button 1. We see that it's not disabled, so we click it. And then now what we see is that this button has been disabled, and that's what we get right here. Moving on to handling links. Again, we go to this URL, we click on one of the links, URLs right here, and then we assert that this web link up here contains idiom lucid within it. For the last one, for mouse over your service, we visit this link right here, and then what we're doing was getting the select button right here, and then we are right-clicking it. And because we can't right-click it, this does not work. And we're catching that error. So that's being caused by this right here. And so this will cause an error, and we expect it because you can't right-click the select. So I'm going to go ahead and actually delete this and then run this again by saving, going back to here, and then we'll see if this works now. So now if we go down to here, after we click select, if we hover over it, it works as you want. So yeah, so these are different ways you can interact with all of these web elements in Cypress. If you found this video helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you next time.